want to create a tattoo, I want to make something that's timeless, something that the client can be happy when the day they got it, and then down the track when it's 20 years old, they can still look at it and be happy with it. It's got the right foundations to age well. Or everything about it just still looks good. So the way I started sort of getting into being creative and art itself was through my nan. She was a prolific artist down in Dubbo, New South Wales, where I was born. And when she'd babysit me when Mum was working a lot, she would always bring out the pens and paper and would draw and stuff like that. Well, obviously when I was quite young. I moved to the Sunshine Coast when I was 10 from Dubbo. So I think grade 6 was when I met a teacher, Miss Berg. She was really open to me drawing and stuff in class. I'd draw Christmas card for the class. I'd draw the birthday cards for the kids in the class and that sort of thing. She'd get me to do that, and she realised I wasn't the greatest at learning the ABCs, so she sort of pushed me more towards that direction. The tattooing was sort of, where I was from in Sunshine Coast, quite small. There wasn't a lot of shops, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to become a tattooist. One of my good friends and future mentor, my boss, Corey McKenzie, he had some ins, and he was a really good artist. He had some ins. He got into a studio and started tattooing, which then gave us good access to tattoo shops, and we could go get tattooed by him as he started and that sort of thing. And it gave sort of probably the first chance that I was like, oh wait up, I might be able to do tattooing as well, because beforehand I had no idea how you'd even get to know a tattooist or get to even find out how to get the secrets that they kept really close to them. He left his studio that he was working at, where he started working, and he was looking to open up his own studio. And I sort of was helping him out in that process, doing business plans and helping him sort of get his lease sort of all worked out. And I was doing a lot of tattoo flash at that stage. I was drawing a lot of flash, painting it, not really with the intent to become a tattooist, just because I thought it was cool and I liked it. But he opened a studio up, and he had no intention on putting an apprentice on. Especially not so early in the business, but circumstances, he needed me to sort of help him out. As an apprentice at the studio I worked at, it was a street shop, so as a street shop tattooist, you need to be able to perform pretty much all styles to a degree. If you're not making the money, if a job comes in and you're not able to do it, you can't make the money, then no point in being there, sort of thing. The boss wants you to be able to make money, and that's the idea of the game. But at the end of the day, tattooing is definitely an art form, but the bills need to be paid, and that's where the work comes in. Traditional was probably the only thing that wasn't really solid in our shop. So he basically said to me, he goes, mate, you need to start pushing that traditional stuff you do. You've been painting and drawing it for a long time. Why don't you start pursuing it and stop doing the other stuff and see how you go that regard. So he sort of pushed me into doing the traditional style of tattooing. But even though everything from our studio was always, he taught me to have a basis of traditional tattooing. I went over to America for 3 months, basically turned up to LA, didn't know many people. I went down to San Diego, got tattooed by a guy called Marcus Kuhn. He sort of gave me a few people then to contact. Basically I met a bunch of young crew that were just full-time convention dudes that just went around everywhere. They had shops all over the place. They were just really nice people. Sort of, you meet them at the one convention and then they're like, well, the Philadelphia convention's next weekend, like, you should try and get there. So I went to Philadelphia, and then when I was there, just by associating with people, Antonio, the guy that was manager for the studio in New York, he's like, well, work at my studio. And I was like, yeah, cool. So this is halfway through that trip, but already just meeting one person would blow into 2 people that would go into, and the network just got deeper and deeper, everyone was so supportive and friendly and willing to help, which is sort of, gave me a lot of insight into the American tattooing, gave me a lot of opportunity to develop my style, working with some artists which I hold in such high regard. I thought I'd never even have a chance to ever meet, and you get to meet them and they just become like good friends, and they're just great people. It just keeps you stoked on the whole idea of the tattoo game. While I was away in America, Reese Gordon had sort of touched base with me and said that his studio that he's opening in Bondi Junction might have a space available for me to work. And I moved to Sydney with my wife thinking that, yeah, this is going to be a chance, you know, I'm really going to have a chance to work in a really great studio. I was a big changing point in my life, moving down to Sydney in the big smoke. I then realised that I needed to hit the streets and start, you know, making some contacts. So I went and did a few jobs around town, a few studios, street shop studios, which was really good. I got to build a little bit of clientele, got to get back in the groove, start making tattoos again, getting back on the machines, you know. And an opportunity came up for me and my business partner, Rick Vaughan, 4Eyes. And we had the chance to buy a studio that's been here for 25 years on Oxford Street in Darlinghurst. The studio's been through many different hands, but it's been here for that time. We bought it off a guy called Bill R, who was working the studio for 18 years. It was a great opportunity, we took it on. We've been here ever since. That's sort of where we're at now. It's where we produce our magic every day. Try and have some fun and yeah, enjoy making tattoos. Tattooing, it's always like lend itself to a lot of folk art sort of thing like that, you know. It comes from the Carnegie folks, you know, there's like always been sort of, there's an ancient sort of art to it, you know. Every design that you see in the old school traditional sense, it definitely has its legs in another form. It could be from advertisement back in the day for, you know, for a hair care product or something like that, you know, a woman's face that was used. Like I love going through old books and old, like even children's nursery rhyme books and stuff like that. You'll see artwork in there that you can apply to a tattoo so easily, and sometimes you can find something that's old and it could have been looked at a million times, but you know, you haven't, no one's taken that and put it into a tattoo yet, you know. So that's the sort of a cool thing that you can do and find little things like that. Everyone knows about back in the days, it was all the sailors, prostitutes, criminals, you know, bikies would have tattoos, and if you had tattoos, you definitely would be typecast. Nowadays, it's definitely a lot different. You're tattooing barristers these days, doctors. You're still tattooing junkies off the street. You're still tattooing criminals. You're still tattooing, you know, people that are on the bad side of the tracks. Yeah, so it's definitely cool and it's definitely changed. You're not judged as much. Your clientele is so diverse now. A lot different to what the boys would have went through back in the day wearing their tattoos for sure. Everything from our studio was always to have a basis of traditional tattooing and everything. So the solid lines, black contrast was the main thing. So everything I do always has a foundation of solid traditional tattooing to it. Even if it is a totally different style of traditional, it still will have the foundations of that to the design for sure. Tattooing is definitely something that you're always striving to find something different, reference material. Recently we've had an opportunity to go hang out with an old tattooist from Australia, Greg Ardren. He owned Sleeve Masters in the Cross for 18 years. Prolific as hell. Just worked and still works. Like, he's amazing. His volume of reference is amazing, and you know, he can make a tattoo very quickly in the ways of like, oh yeah, cool, I know where that book is, I know where I can get that face from, I know where I can get that hand from, and he can make a tattoo so quickly and easily. You know, referencing from that sort of stuff inspires me a lot. Just looking through books, finding other tattoos, old tattoo pictures, seeing how people wore tattoos, that sort of stuff. The best advice I've received from anyone, it's a hard question, but like it's about listening mainly. Shut up and listen. You're not going to learn anything unless you listen. You're in the presence of some people that can teach you stuff that not many people have the access to. And, like having a mentor around, like Reese Gordon's one of my good friends and someone that really inspires me and like helps me out a lot with my tattooing. He just basically told me, he goes, mate, just when you're in this room and you're with these people that are quite well-known tattooists or someone you can really learn a lot from, don't talk to them, listen to them. So my creative way is to strive to leave behind a body of work that I can be proud of, to leave behind a legacy, something that future generations can hopefully take from. Give back to tattooing. Tattooing's given me the world, given me so much, given me opportunities to travel, given me opportunities to meet really great people, and I want to be able to give back to tattooing as much as I've taken from it. The day that I finish and I put down the machine for the last time, I hope hope I can be proud, and hope people can sort of appreciate my contribution to the industry.